Factorio is one of my favorite games ever made. It's rare I find a game that I can lose myself in, and I don't mean this in the buzzword artsy way. I mean it in the I just started playing, what do you mean the sun's already rising kind of way. They call it Factorio for a good reason. It might not look like the kind of game that can sink its claws into you, but Factorio finds a way. Factorio is a game about building a factory. What does this factory make? Well, the end goal is to build a rocket ship and get off the planet you've crash landed onto. At the very start of the game, you'll be cutting trees down by hand and using a pickaxe to mine ore like some kind of peasant. It won't take long to get a couple of crummy drills to help make that mining easier, but you're still gonna have to feed your furnaces by hand in order to get iron and copper out of the raw materials. This is gonna take forever. What you should do is build a machine to do it for you. That's much better, but that's not enough. We could do better than this. No, I think we could still do better than this. Alright, I think I might have gotten a little carried away here. Building the factory. That's the gameplay loop of Factorio. Everything you do in pursuit of getting off of this rock. How hard could it be? Well, there's a catch. You're not alone on this planet. The biters have read Uncle Ted's manifesto, and they don't take too kindly to the gender reveal party I had earlier. The larger the factory gets, the more pollution you make. And the more pollution you make, the more angrier and larger the biters get. Alone on this planet, you can't afford to be a pacifist. The biters might speak for the trees, but the heavy flamer speaks for me. If you have gun turrets, it can be easy to defend your base. For a little while at least. The thing about ammunition is it's very pollution heavy. The more pollution you make, the angrier the biters get. The angrier they get, the more they attack your base. The more they attack your base, the more ammo you have to make. The more ammo you make, the more pollution you make. The more pollution you make, the more the biters attack. This will happen ad nauseum. If you want, you could use laser turrets. Some people swear by them. They can really drain your power grid if you're not ready. And while that might not be a problem in the late game, it is a bit of a problem in the early game. You do have other options though. If you have oil, the flamethrower will be your best friend in dealing with biter attacks. Flamethrowers can and will carry you to the end of the game, so long as the oil never runs dry. It's uncommon for them to breach your walls when you have flamethrowers behind them, as long as your walls are well maintained at least. While flamethrowers are great for defense, sometimes you want something that's more offensive. You know, take the fight to them. Well, you do have things like tanks, which work pretty well and can carry you for quite a long time. And then there's the spider mech. Attaching some lasers and missiles to this thing really makes things a breeze. But what if I don't want to get up and close? What if I want to take care of things from the comfort of my own base? Well, good news. Artillery strikes allow you to shell biter nests into the dirt. The more cannons you have, the more you can shell. Be sure to shell them even after they're dead, just so they know you mean business. The great thing about artillery cannons is they shell biter nests automatically if they get too close to your base. You never have to worry about biters again. But sometimes you want to have fun, and when you do, you build a giant mechanized spider that can shoot atomic bombs. What was once a terrifying nest of angry bugs is now glass. And remember, it's not a war crime if you're doing it in the name of the Emperor. A downside to the biters is they lack variety. You'll encounter 3 types of biters throughout the game. These roly-poly looking guys that spit acid, these more aggressive attackers that look like antlions, and these worms, which don't move, so the only time you ever see them is at a nest. The game could use some more biter types for variety. Maybe something like a wasp or centipede. A spider might be cool too. Sure, all 3 of these options are terrifying, but as it stands, the biters are more of a nuisance than a general threat. In normal gameplay, that is. The added challenge might be worth it, even if it's just an option. Speaking of options, Factorio has the option to remove the biters entirely, so you could play on peaceful mode. I don't ever really like to play the game that way. I find it a little boring without the occasional bug attack, but I understand that some people don't want to deal with it. The factory must grow. The more you build, the more you need. More assemblers means more drills. More drills means more materials. More materials means more items. More items means more assemblers. The factory must grow. All that ore means more furnaces. More furnaces means more materials. Your furnaces aren't good enough, so you have to rebuild all your furnaces. The factory must grow. Now you need to make some trains to deliver the ore to keep up with the furnaces. Scale down? Are you insane? The factory must grow. So you build a train yard. Trains bring in the ore. 1 train won't do though. How about 2 or 3 trains? The factory must grow. The drills can't keep up? Better make them faster. The modules make them faster and are eating up all the green chips. I think I meant to fix something before, didn't I? I'm low on oil? When did that stop working? People aren't joking when they say that this game is Sisyphean. And like Sisyphus, I am happy. If all of this seems stressful to you, it can be. But it's honestly not that bad. At least I find it enjoyable. I like finding a problem and solving it. That's all this game really is problem solving. If you allow yourself, you'll never be finished with this game. There's always something to improve. Nothing is ever perfect. Just go at your own pace. It's not a race. You'll enjoy yourself better that way. Just remember this, if you think you have enough green chips, no you do not. Growing the factory is really time consuming, especially when you want to make it the size of a city. If only you could build large portions of this place with very little effort. Well, you can. Work smarter, not harder. Once you research robots, they'll do all the hard work for you. Do you need another red chip factory? Simply copy and paste the one you have, and the robots will do the work for you. A task that once took you 30 minutes will now take you 30 seconds. Where robots really shine is they can be sent to do jobs far out. If you need to build an outpost somewhere, the robots will do it for you, all without having to leave the factory. The in-game tutorials will teach you how to play the game, but they're never going to teach you how to play the game. Factorio is never going to tell you that the best way to make green chips is to have 3 copper wire assemblers feeding into 2 green chip assemblers. Doing this will make things run a lot more efficient, but you don't have to do it if you don't want to. And no one's going to expect you to have a flawless optimized base on your first playthrough, or your second, or your third. The real beauty to this game is there's just so much you can learn. Even when you think you know everything, someone will teach you something new. At first it seems daunting, like you can never learn all this, but eventually it just becomes second nature. You don't even think about it when you do it. Most people start their factory with a bus. No, not that one, this one. Your basic bus has 4 lanes of copper, 4 lanes of iron, and 2 to 4 lanes of green chips. Remember, you can never have enough green chips. You'll add on to this bus too. Red and blue chips, sulfur, plastic, the list really can go on. And you could always debate with people what should and shouldn't go on a bus. So your bus is going to run through your entire base and deliver these items that you need to the places they need to go. Where do they need to go? Your assembling machines, which will be doing all of the crafting for you. The belts carry the items to the machines. The robotic arms feed them into the machines, and then they spit out whatever item you requested. Anything that can be crafted can be automated. Now you don't want things to be unorganized, right? Well, the best way to organize things is to build a mall. The idea of a mall is to have one place in your factory where every item is made. Some items, like belts, have upgrades. To make a faster conveyor belt, you must upgrade a yellow belt into a red belt. Well, the mall takes the yellow belts and automatically makes them into red belts. And later on, it can make these red belts into blue belts. This works for everything with upgrades. And for things without upgrades, it simply feeds it into the chest, ready for you to grab when you need it. Additionally, when you have robots, these robots can grab things from the chests, either to build for you or bring items directly to you if you request it. And to be fully transparent, these blueprints here aren't mine. I got them from a Factorio player who is much better than I am. You can learn more from this guy than anyone else in my opinion. Not that he needs a shout out from a channel with under 1,000 subs. Now, items and machines aren't the only thing you need for the factory to grow. In order to make any progress, you'll need to build these science labs. With these laboratories, you can research new technology. Don't want to burn coal anymore? Now you have nuclear power. Don't want to build things by hand? Now you have robots. Need to build the rocket ship? Now you can get off this planet. These color-coded science packs, much like everything else, must be crafted using certain items. And while it's not quite like a mall, the same idea does apply. You build certain lanes to make certain science packs. These ones I did make myself, by the way, so be sure to tell me that they're unoptimized. The thing is, no one's going to expect you to have a flawless optimized base with perfect ratios on your first try. Hell, you can forego optimization altogether if you want. As long as I'm having fun, who really cares? Factorio is a very satisfying game to look at. The machines all have a lot of detail and moving parts that speed up or slow down based on how hard you're working them. There's a beauty to watching the machines do their thing. It can be almost hypnotic at times. The sound design is spot on as well. I never really got into that ASMR stuff, but I imagine this is close to what it's like. I enjoy polluting the planet. In Factorio, at the start of the game, the oceans are blue and the grass is green. The trees are full of life. The longer you stay on the planet, the more you pollute it. The water begins to change color and turn grimy and disgusting. The grass and trees all die. Before you know it, everything around you is dead. You'll likely cover up the dead grass with concrete, the only reminder of nature being a couple of blades of grass popping out. Cutting down the trees with atomic bombs to save time leaves scars on the earth that will never heal.
Many of these trees were my friends.
What's really interesting is I never actually noticed it happening in real time. I never noticed that the water changes color. I never noticed that the trees slowly die. By the time I already noticed, it's already too late. Not that I really have an option to do anything about it. On the flip side of this, while the pollution is oddly beautiful to look at in this game, so is nature itself. While the biter nests are kinda gross, they are also a bit interesting to look at. And of course, you can't forget the trees. The trees in this game are very pretty. Well, at least they're pretty before you get to them. The mod community for Factorio is strong. Really strong. And it's a well that will never run dry. There are quality of life mods, such as the ratio calculator that tells you if your ratios are off. You can also get new buildings, upgrades to existing buildings, more science, player skins, guns, cars, tanks, anything really. The list never ends. And somehow, if you're bored of the base game, why not try a whole new game mode, space exploration, taking players up to 600 hours to beat. The great thing about mods is you could simply choose to never touch them if that's not your thing. The fan dedication is wonderful. Any question you have has already been answered. And if not, there are plenty of people out there who can try and help. If you can't figure out how to build your mall or chip factory correct, don't worry. A blueprint for it most definitely exists, and it'll very likely be optimized already. There's no shame in using what other people made. The developers clearly intended you to do this, so go ahead and use whatever you like. I would suggest at least trying to build it yourself first. It can be very rewarding when it works out. Do as you wish, it's your game, and it's also single player, so who cares? Well, kinda. There is a co-op mode, but I'm a loser who plays Factorio by himself. Factorio is the game I can always come back to. This is gonna sound nuts, but this is actually my cozy game. This game is probably far too cathartic for a normal person to call cozy, but I love how much it churns my brain. I need several tasks to finish at once while angry bugs attack me. Anytime I play Factorio too much, I just know I'm gonna get Tetris Effect dreams for the next few nights. Yes, even in my sleep, I end up playing this damn game. The thing about Factorio is, it's never on sale. They likely believe that the game is at the price they think it's worth, and don't want it to be any less than that. For the price tag, I've definitely gotten more fun out of this than I had out of AAA games. If the price seems worth it to you, just don't blame me when the game consumes your life. Take care.
Door stuck! Door